Take a break from your busy schedule and join Harold Sala for Guidelines, a 5-minute commentary on living.
The late news on TV concluded with an interview with a street girl, a woman who earned her living as a prostitute. Her makeup was heavy, her skirt short. She was smug and coy as she brushed off the questions of the TV reporter, parrying them with her sure knowledge that hers was an old and necessary profession. But then the reporter noticed a gold cross on a chain around her neck, and the questions took a turn she had not anticipated. "I see you have a cross on your necklace," he began. "Are you a religious person?" The second TV camera quickly zoomed in on the little gold cross, which then filled the screen. "Oh, no," she quickly and smugly added, saying, "I'm not religious at all." "Well, why do you wear the cross?" There was silence for a moment. Then her eyes dropped to the ground. She spoke softly. "I used to be religious when I was a kid," she said, "but I got away from all of that." Does a person ever go so far that he or she escapes the shadow of the cross? Whether you are a professional, an executive, a laborer, or a street person, or what, can you really escape the shadow that fell from that Roman cross that Good Friday as Jesus Christ was lifted between heaven and earth? Calvary was the intersection where two roads crossed, one coming from the north and leading to the south towards Jericho. The Romans purposely put the cross there so that all who passed by might see the action. George MacLeod of Scotland wrote, "I simply argue that the cross should be raised at the center of the marketplace as well as on the steeple of the church. I am recovering the claim that Jesus was not crucified in a cathedral between two candles, but on a cross between two thieves, on the town's garbage heap, at a crossroad so cosmopolitan that they had to write his title in Hebrew and Latin and Greek, at the kind of a place where cynics talk smut, and thieves curse and soldiers gamble, because that is where he died, and that is what he died for, and that is what he died about. That is where churchmen ought to be, and what churchmen ought to be about." End quote. I have been thinking recently how little we hear about the cross anymore. An offense and foolishness to those who perish was the way Paul described it, saying it violated our sense of public propriety. For, said Paul, the message of the cross to us who are being saved is the power of God. What Jesus did when he died at Calvary was to take your place, to die on your behalf so you might be adopted into the family of God, so that our Heavenly Father would accept his sacrifice in your stead. Does that make sense, friend? The cross is the key to the whole matter, the keystone to the whole structure of faith, the key that opens the locked door to the very presence of God. Isaiah explained, "He was wounded for our transgressions. He was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed." That, friend, is the very heart of the gospel. The cross still provides the only rationale for God's forgiveness, the very heart of what Christ did. We must never trivialize its power or neglect its importance. It is still the answer to the sinner's shame, and it is the bridge that takes us to God and eliminates the separation that stands between us and the Father. I must needs go home by the way of the cross. There's no other way but this. It's still true. You have just heard Guidelines. I'm Dr. Harold Sala. You have heard the fourth in a 6-part series on the importance of the cross and what Jesus did when he died. You can get it in print. We'll send it to you. Or better yet, you can print it out yourself if you have access to the internet. Go to our homepage, guidelines.org. Print it, or even download it in MP3. That's guidelines.org.